Thanksgiving dinner, my grandmother asked me, what the heck is this Bitcoin stuff anyway, right? And I said to her, do you remember when Visa cards first came out? You were used to paying with cash or with a check, and then a Visa came out. It was this weird payment system that you didn't understand. And she said, yeah, I remember that. I said, well, Bitcoin is just the next evolution of another payment system.
Bitcoin. By now, you've probably heard of it. The wild fluctuations in its price has gained the attention of the mainstream financial media. But Bitcoin is much more than just your average investment. Beneath all the hype and hysteria lies what could be the most important technology of our lifetimes. So what exactly is it? To fully appreciate the characteristics that make Bitcoin a potentially world-changing technology, we first need to understand what money is.
Currency started developing 6,000 to 9,000 years ago, some sort of medium of exchange, and people used something of value. Societies around the world, though, started to select gold and silver as their primary currency about 3,000 years ago, and then about 680 BC, they became money when they were minted into coins of equal weights. Governments started creating representative currencies where you deposit your gold and silver, or they have gold and silver in the treasury, and they come out with notes that are basically a claim check on the gold. So they're supposed to be as good as gold because you can always convert them into gold.
Throughout history, precious metals were chosen as money, not through government decree, but because of their unique features. Gold is rare, easily recognizable, portable, durable, and divisible. Above all, because gold is difficult to find and labor-intensive to mine, refine, and mint, it has always been perceived as a store of value.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference.
In modern history, as World War II was coming to an end, in 1944, the Allied nations met at the small town of Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Here, they drafted a new financial system, which would stabilize the world's financial system once the war ended. With the United States poised to enter a golden age of prosperity, the U.S. dollar was chosen to be the world's reserve currency.
The Bretton Woods system was created after the Second World War at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire. And rather than using gold as the means of exchange between countries, as was the case under the old gold standard, the dollar was going to be used. The dollar was chosen because back then it was as good as gold.
Under this new system, the countries of the world would tie their currencies at a fixed rate to the U.S. dollar. And because most of the world's gold was held in U.S. vaults, the U.S. dollar would be backed by gold at a fixed price of $35 per ounce. This created a system where the currencies of the world were effectively backed by gold through the U.S. dollar.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
The Bretton Woods system lasted for about 25 years, but in August of 1971, President Richard Nixon called for an emergency press conference where he announced foreign countries would no longer be able to convert their U.S. dollar holdings into gold. This surprise move would come to be known as the Nixon shock. With this one announcement, President Nixon effectively created our current monetary system, a system where no currency is backed by gold or anything of value. This is what is known as a fiat currency.
Fiat currency is currency that's backed by nothing except government promises. The word fiat is a Latin word, and it basically means currency that's circulating by force. If people have confidence in that currency, and if there's enough government force, that will enable the currency to circulate for a period of time until people lose confidence in the currency.
Money is a medium of exchange, and the way it has evolved is that it's always something of intrinsic value until the modern age, when the politicians say, well, we don't need anything of intrinsic value anymore. All we need is political decree. We can say this is money, this piece of paper is money. Now money has a new characteristic. But underneath it all, there's this same concept. in place that nobody ever seems to challenge, and that is that governments have a right to declare something of no value to be money, and you must accept it. That's really the problem, and it's still the problem today.
Without anything tangible backing the currencies we use today, governments around the world have been able to issue unlimited amounts of new currency without restraint. And with the advent of the digital age, currencies around the world are now digits in a global banking database. So what is Bitcoin? Well, simply put, it's a digital currency, much like the electronic currency we use today. But it's also the payment network which facilitates the transfer of this new digital currency from one person to another.
Bitcoin's a new internet protocol that enables the transmission of value over a communications channel. You can think of it like being able to send a gold coin as easily as you send an email. You can send any amount of money to anyone in the world, anytime, can't be seized, can't be confiscated, can't be frozen. Very useful technology.
So Bitcoin is a digital currency and it is a payment system. So it's a payment system in the same way that bank networks are, or PayPal. Those are all payment systems. But it's also a currency. So PayPal and banks use the dollar as their currency. The Bitcoin payment system uses Bitcoins as its currency. So they both have the same name.
What is your opinion of disruptive digital currencies such as Bitcoin?
If you're looking for the idea that a currency doesn't really have to be something physical, it can be something that's virtual, that's the system we already have, you know. And if you want it to be, I want a way to make payments electronically, that's, you know, credit cards. I mean, so exactly what it is that this thing is supposed to be doing that we don't already mostly do.
Bitcoin is different from other fiat currencies in a couple ways, but not the way people think. So most people think it's different because it is a digital currency, but fiat currencies are also digital, right? So the dollar is a digital currency, the euro is a digital currency. They're all just ones and zeros in the banks of the world. So it's not that Bitcoin is digital that makes it unique. It's unique in that it cannot be created out of thin air. So dollars, euros, yen, these can all be created out of thin air by people who have permission to do so, which is generally a central bank. Bitcoin has no ability to create it out of thin air. So it is a scarce digital asset.
Unlike the banking system we currently use, where bureaucrats meet behind closed doors and determine and regulate the supply of new currency, mathematics and cryptography are used to regulate the creation of new bitcoins. The Bitcoin network is decentralized, meaning that instead of transactions and account balances being stored on a central computer or database, Bitcoin's ledger of accounts, more commonly known as the blockchain, is distributed across tens of thousands of computers around the world.
There's something called Napster.